At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay. Thank you. Someone said I say thank you too many times. So today I'll just say thank you once.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, they said, oh, Lydia, you say thank you too many times. So just say thank you once and we're done. But I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. And I'll say thank you so much for actually accepting this invitation.
No, my pleasure.
And I know a lot of people are waiting for you because we have a lot of single parents out there with boys, and they don't know what to do with their boys. And when they saw this, they were like, Lydia, we cannot miss this for nothing. This is
wow.
Not just because of the topic as well, but it's because of the person who actually is taking the topic up. So they're like, what? Lydia Bulari, we're coming, we're there. And I was like, cool. That's a good one.
Yes.
So that's why. So it's not just about the topic, but it's also the person delivering the message.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Coach Robert.
Asante
sana. So we'll start without any further ado. But before we start, I think I'll tag you as well. So you've seen it already?
Not yet.
Right. So today is a Sunday. How's your day today? How's your day been?
It was good. Pretty heavy with the preaching. Preaching takes a lot of energy, and because you go deep into the spirit. Then I enjoyed the show. We were dealing with how do you respond to failure, and now we're here talking about the boy child and many other things.
Wow, I would like to hear that. I would like to hear how you do respond to failure. I mean, it's a nice one. I think next time we'll come and talk about that as well.
Yes.
So you give us the insight. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so just to start with the show immediately, my first question was, before I start with my first question, I just want you to introduce yourself because I know there's thousands of people who know who you are, but also some who don't know who you are. So if you can just introduce yourself, please.
All right, my name is Robert Broale. I'm the coach. I call myself coach because I do very many things. I'm an author. I'm a minister of the gospel. I'm an actor. I'm a producer. I'm an author. I am the founder of the Naked Truth Movement, and I'm the lead trainer at the Robert Broale School of Leadership, and a father to the most beautiful girl in Eastern Central Africa, south of the Sahara, and north of Limpopo.
That is awesome. I wish my father can introduce me like that. That is awesome. Yes. Thank you very much for taking this opportunity, Bulari.
Thank you.
Okay, so just dig straight into it. And my number one question is, who is to blame over our children's misfortune in regards of our children entering gang, in terms of alcoholism, in terms of drugs, in terms of sex? So who should we blame, really?
It's not, we can't just blame one. We can't say it's the children, we can't say it's the parents. I think it's a collective responsibility, for lack of a better word. I talk about, let me start with the parents. Sadly, we're at an era where parents want to be with it, want to be friends with the children. And there's nothing, Lydia, wrong with being friends with your children, but there's a time not to be a friend, but to be a commander-in-chief of your house. But we want to be hip, parents want to, every time your child tells you, oh, dad, you are the best, every time, then there's a problem. They got to tell you at some point, dad, you don't understand. Mom, you're being old-fashioned. But if every time they say you're the best, it means you're trying to conform to them. So I do blame the kind of what I call the new age kind of parents. The new age parents are the ones who are raising children, are investing for their children, but they are not bothered about investing in their children. We will buy them phones, we will buy them gadgets, and then we have them, we give them free Wi-Fi, and then we keep them busy doing those things so that we can do our other things. If you watch on social media, some of the people who have been twerking and going for nyama choma, breaking the curfew rules, have left their kids at home. So if parents are doing that, what do we expect the children to do? Because children don't necessarily do what we say, they do what they see us doing, you know? So you're on social media, and maybe parents are thinking, oh, my kids are not on social media. I got news for you, dear parent. You don't know, but they're on social media. They just have a funny account written Gustav, and that's your daughter, you know? So they see the things you're doing on social media. So they go with what they see. So parents, we have a part to play, and we have to take the share of the blame. Children, also our young ones, want to belong. Social media has made us competitors. We get our identity. The young people get their identity based on the comments and the likes on their posts. And some go into depression because they don't have the likes that they want to. So you want to do what the other person is doing. And well, many people have said this. People do not post their struggles on social media. People want to put their best foot forward. And somebody is going into a depression thinking they're the only ones who don't eat bacon. Whereas this person posted bacon the one time they've eaten in that year. And then what about schools and government? We are not, I believe the governments can do much more in creating budgets for people to come and give these children direction. We want to see politicians who will have the young people at heart and not just be selfish about what they really want for themselves and their immediate family. Schools must also get to a place over and above academics. We talk to our children about matters of life, social issues, identity, and purpose. And where I belong, the church, we also have now to talk about these things. You know, we want to futitutsi around some of these topics, yet we got to understand these kids are having drugs, these kids are having sex, these kids are struggling with pornography, these kids are struggling with masturbation, but nobody is talking to them. We condemn them. Yet what they need is understanding. Because, Lydia, a 15-year-old in this digital era is like a 30-year-old in our era, because there is an avalanche, for lack of a better word, of information. So these kids are dealing with so many things, and all they need is, please understand us. Yet, yes, the kids are saying we are messing up, but hey, you guys didn't get the pressures we are getting. Exactly. So we as the church, let's not go full. We rebuke what they're doing, but let's not make them feel that they're not good enough, because then you'll push them deeper into this drug addiction, immoral behavior, and the sponsor menace. That is a problem.
Yeah, I know you spoke about, I just want to come back to something that you said about we as parents, we are actually compensating with material things.
Yes.
But a parent will actually come and say, well, Robert, I'm working. I have to work. I have to feed my family. I have to pay the rent and put food on the table for them. So what do you want me to do? So someone will come and ask you that question. That's why I have to compensate with material things so that I can go to work. So how would you deal with that?
Well, Lydia, our parents are also working. I mean, this is not this. We are not the new age parents are not the first ones to act. But if you are intentional, and I'm going to say something controversial. Yes, many have said, and I've heard that a lot, that we are working, so we have no time. But where do they get time to go twerking? Where do they get time to go for all these parties? Where do they get time to go for all these chamas? How comes fathers can watch 4 Premier League games in a day, in a weekend? They go and sit and have nyama choma as their cars are being washed. If they can get time for that, what about our children? We got to make time for our children, because even the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they grow, they will not depart from it. Train up. As a trainer, you have to be within close proximity. We make time. And yes, we are busy. But let me tell you, is it difficult? to wake up on a Saturday morning and do homework with the children? Is it difficult to say to the children to go today, I'm taking you for swimming, I will sit there reading my newspaper, but my presence will be there? The children, if you ask them genuinely, Lydia, they will tell you, we would rather have the presence of the parents and not the present. They're tired of the presence and they want the presence. And we need, I'm a father of a girl. I should be the one telling her, you're beautiful. I appreciate you. You will do well. You are a success. Because if she doesn't hear it from me, but all she's getting are gadgets and gadgets, one time these people will hear this information from the wrong people. And that's why there are sponsors taking advantage of young girls out there, because they're trying to look for that which their fathers and their mothers did not give to them. So yes, we are busy, but the truth of the matter, we have to make time. We made time to make love to bring these children. We can make time to raise them.
Okay. Okay. So that is right though. You're right. Yeah. But right now, what I would say is, I think as parents,
yes,
most of us, I think we've misplaced priorities, because like what you said, if I can get a time for my car to be washed and I eat nyama choma and I go clubbing and I go for chama and I do other stuff. So why can't I find time to spend with my children? So I think it's all about priority.
Yes.
What do you think?
We have to get our priorities right. Because if somebody, I mean, there's some ladies, and there's nothing wrong with chamas, because some are good, of course, some are gossip clubs. But if you have 4 chamas, every Saturday you're going for a chama, you can honestly sacrifice, say, I will only have 2 chamas, and these 2 other weekends, I will be with my children. I have a friend, he says to me, nobody dares look for him on a Saturday and a Sunday. That is time for him, his wife, and his children. When he gets older, he will see the balance of his children. But now we are letting social media raise our children. And allow me to add this, Lydia. If we let social media to raise our children, we are seeing, let me say it this way, and I'll use you as an example. You are doing great things in this country, in the UK. And if I put your photo there, a lady is doing great things, and I put a slay queen there, most young girls will want to be there like the slay queen. Yeah, you know why?
Exactly.
The slay queen is posting big cars and showing the breasts and the thighs. You know, I call them Caressa and Fondoli. You are showing Thailand. You know, what are you showing Thailand for? And then these young girls are like, oh, if all I need to do is show my frontal side and thighs, and I'll be driving a big car, then I'd rather be that, and not a lady who has gone through the process to get to where she's getting. We are raising a micro generation. As parents, do we know what our children are watching? Do we know who they're following, honestly? And young people at an age where they're very easily impressed by things. And I also want to talk to people who have been given the grace by God to be public figures. Be careful what you're posting, because young people are watching us. Young ladies, stop, you slay queen, stop showing us everything. You understand what I'm saying? You are dishonoring yourself while damaging the young children. Yeah.
That's true. So what you're saying as well is we have to, because the name calling you said, because most of the girls, when they don't hear their mom or their dad saying, regardless of whether they're together or not. And I think sometimes as well is because a lot of, especially women, because we have a lot of single women out there, and they'll be like, oh, because I'm single, and they'll always use excuses, because I'm single. So we should stop using excuses, because you cannot, we brought those children into the world to look after them. It's our responsibility to look after them. And so with the name calling, the appreciation thing, because I know a lot of parents, some parents, they don't even have time to tell their children, I love you, appreciate you. My time, to be honest, nobody told me I love you. My mom never told me that. My dad never told me that. But that time, it's different from the era we had right now. Because now there's social media, like you rightfully said. There's so many things that the children will see somebody saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And they'll fall into that line. So I think it's so important. And just talking to people who are just tuning in, what we are talking about today is about right now, our first point is about parents. So I did ask Robert, who is to blame in the misfortune on our children, on why they joined the gang, alcoholism, drugs, sex, all this. And he said, everybody has a part to play, but mostly it's the parents, because we are the ones who brought these children into this world to look after them. And they do what we do, not what we say. So be careful what you're doing in front of your children, and be careful what you tell them as well to do. And now we're talking about appreciation. Telling your children, I love you, you're beautiful. Today, look at how you are today. You know, just complimenting your children every single time. It's never enough to say, oh, but I told I love her last month.
Some don't even tell them. They just send a message, and it's a forward, by the way. It's not from their heart.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And that is why our young children are looking for attention in the wrong places. Our young children are being taken advantage of by sponsors. There are 50-year-old men out there who are so wicked that they're willing and ready to sleep with 14-year-old girls. And these girls fall into the arms of this man because their fathers did not tell them you're beautiful. Their fathers did not affirm them. Their fathers did not make them feel as if they belong. So what happens? They start gravitating to anybody who tells them anything close to, you are beautiful, we appreciate you. And some of these people tell them they're beautiful, not because they want them to have a great identity, but they tell them they're beautiful because they want to get in between.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is powerful. And you know what, sometimes what I do as well, because I know I juggle a lot of things, and I'm a single mom of 3 beautiful angels as well.
Amen.
And what I do is sometimes, even when I'm on the phone and when I'm with them and my phone rings, I have to ask them, guys, should I pick this up? Because sometimes they're like, oh, mom, we were talking. I'll not pick it up. I'll just leave it, because I know that I can call that person. The person is not going to die. The person is not going to die. So I'll just leave my phone to ring, but I'll call the person later. So that also makes the children feel like, wow, mom really values me, or dad really values me. So I think we should start doing, every little thing counts. Even that, just to hug your child, that counts. So parents, so what would you leave with the parents before we go to our point number 2?
To the parents is to tell you is that do not enjoy the intimacy of bringing the child together that brought the children together, and run away from the responsibility that the intimacy brought these children forth to the face of the earth. And understand that you have been given a responsibility by God to take care of these children. If you are not there for them, they're the same children who will give you so much trouble during your old age, and you'll be crying every day, the days you're supposed to sit and enjoy the years that the Lord has given you, where you can bring your children and your grandchildren to sit over Christmas and talk. If you do not spend time with them, and please get away from this, and I'll call it by its name, nonsense of what we call the new age kind of parent. A woman is wearing a shorter skirt than the daughter. The woman comes at 4 in the morning from a club, the daughter comes at 4 or 7. And you're like, oh, why did you get late? Was there no Uber? You know, we got to stop that. And to the men, you cannot call yourself a father just because you pay school fees and you buy clothes. If you're not there intentionally to spend time and inculcate the right values on these children, I don't care if you earn a 6-figure salary. I don't care if you're a corporate honcho. I don't care if you have a 4x4 car. If you are not there for your children, you are the poorest of them all. So we got to understand, even the single parents, please hear me. Stop complaining and now look for figures, especially single mothers. You got to understand, especially single mothers who have sons. There are some things, and allow me to say this respectfully, there are some things that a woman will not inculcate on a son. Not that she does not want, it is simply because she does not have the grace. And yes, there are some men who have just fathered and sired children and have run away from taking care of their responsibility. But I know any single mother will look around, there is a father figure. There could be a brother, there could be an uncle, there could be a friend. There are some things only a lady can inculcate on their children, and there are some things that only a man is graced to inculcate. And I feel sad when I see single mothers struggling by themselves because men have not taken care. And I'll tell a man right now, if you are not man enough to take care of your responsibility, then you are never man enough to unzip your trouser.
Wow. Wow. Men, did you hear that? Wow. Okay. There's this thing as well that I wanted us to talk about, talking about parents. We're still on parents, and I know some people, we have comments here as well in regards to that. But I wanted to say there are some parents that personally have had this, or the youth, because I talk to the youths a lot. Parents who say, I bought you this. I did this for you. I look after you. I pay the rent. I do this. Reminding children that I do this and I do this. Do you think it's really right for a parent to tell the children that I bought you clothes, I bought you this, I bought you this? Is it not their responsibility to do that anyway?
Absolutely. When I see or hear a parent showing off that, you know what, I pay school fees. Hello, that's nothing to show off about. Oh, I bought you a nice car. I bought you a nice toy. I bought you a dress. I did this. I'm feeding you. Don't show off. And that's why I say it's like somebody in their CV saying, I have never been to jail. You're not supposed to be in jail in the first time, in the first place. So parents, please do not use what is your God-given responsibility to be a thing that you're trying to up your CV. No, not at all. Do what you're supposed to do. I cannot chest thump and tell my daughter, you know, I've paid your school fees, so respect me. No. Let her respect me because I spend time with her. I inculcate the right values. Let her see that her father has the right values, that this is a man I would want to say proudly, this is my father. But this thing of saying, oh, I paid this, I did this for you. In fact, it's making, let me tell you what that does, Lydia. It makes the child feel for anybody to own me, then as long as they buy something for me, then I got to do what they want me to do. Now, imagine if a girl now who has been raised like that and then meets a sponsor out there and the sponsor buys a small car. And because you're used to being told those things when you're growing up, when the sponsor buys you even a phone and a cheap phone and tells you now you have to have sex with me, you'll remember, oh yeah, this is what I need to do. Because every time I was told to do something, my mom or my dad threw the card of, I did this for you. So if the sponsor has done this, then it is okay. It is normal. And then these girls are being wasted by people out there.
Oof, that is deep. That is deep. Parents, I hope we're listening as parents, and we're not blaming parents. We're not blaming anybody. We're just here to discuss and to talk of values of parents and children alike. Okay, thank you very much. So I'll just probably read something. Someone say, today's children want us to respect them. Oh, thank you for honoring your children. Today's children want us to respect them. You cannot bring up children born in the Western world how our parents brought us up in Africa. Be their friends, try to understand them, show them love, and give your time to your children. Parents need to make time to spend with their children and praise them. Yeah. So we have more of, there was a question. My mom only made these comments about what she did and brought when we were in trouble. Yes, and that's true. It's when they're in trouble, that's when they say, I bought you this, I did this for you, I did this for you. But I hope parents are listening today and children alike. And I like that what you just said about if you keep on reminding your children that you bought this and you bought this for them, when they go out there and they get a sponsor, somebody who's much older than them or somebody who just want to use them, and they say, I bought you a phone, they'll be like, yeah, that's what my mom says. She does this for me, or my dad, she does this for me. So it's okay for me to sleep with this sponsor. So thank you very much for that. Now, point number 2 is actually geared so much into men, because today we are talking about boy child. What do you mean? Because I was listening to some of your speeches, and one of them you're talking about the bleeding man.
Right.
What do you mean with the bleeding man? What does that mean, really? Who is a bleeding man?
The bleeding man. The bleeding man is the man who is trying. And I'm very careful. I'm talking about men, not boys. There are some men who are growing in age, but not in maturity. But I'm talking about this man who is trying to raise a family, who's trying to do good by himself and for society. The men are dying in silence. Men don't talk, and men go through hell and high water. But we feel if we talk about it, we will seem weak. We feel vulnerability is a sign of weakness, yet vulnerability is actually a sign of strength. But it goes back, and I'm glad we're talking about the boy child. It goes back to the boy child. You understand what I'm saying? When you are told, if you have a son and a daughter, when the daughter falls, everybody is running towards the daughter. Oh, are you okay, mommy? Are you okay? Are you hurting? Buju buju? And then when the boy falls, you are told boys don't cry, and the man is hurting, the son is bleeding and is in so much pain, but it says no, boys don't cry. And we have raised boys to feel, to believe that if you show vulnerability, you are a weak man. And that's why I talked about the bleeding man. And the bleeding man is bleeding not on the outside, but on the inside. You know, we feel, and sometimes, and allow me to tell you, sometimes it is the wives of this man who have crushed this man. Every time you use something against a man, you use the moment he was vulnerable and opened up to you. A week later, in another argument, a month later, in another argument, you use it against him, you have crushed him. We have an ego as big as an elephant, but as fragile as an egg. So men are dying in silence, and you got to understand the voice of a man in silence, the tears on the inside, the screams in a whisper, the screams for help in silence. You got to understand. And if there's a man watching, be a safe space for another man. Talk. Women think about suicide. Men actualize suicide. We are not talking. We pretend to be okay. Sometimes we are not okay. The truth of the matter, we are saying, oh, you know, my friends, my wife's friends, their husbands are taking them on holiday to Mombasa. I cannot take my wife and my children. My children's friends are in the biggest schools. They have the biggest bikes. I cannot afford. Those things kill men. They kill men, and men are dying. I want to tell you, men are walking with death certificates in their pockets. And hear me, and I need to make it clear for the viewers. I'm not talking about boys who just want to sit and watch football day in, day out. I'm not talking about boys who just want to spend time in a bar. I'm talking about men who want to make it happen, but things and issues of life are not allowing them. Men who have lost jobs because of the COVID. Men who call themselves in a meeting and they're wondering, how will I pay this debt? How will I pay school fees? How will I pay rent? What will my children eat in the next 1 month? Where will they be 5 years from today? Men are bleeding on the inside. And today I want to urge every lady watching, if you have a husband, if you have a brother, please, and a father, call them. You do not know how many times your father denied himself so that you get that beautiful dress while you're growing up. You don't know how many times your father denied himself so that you have the birthday cake when you turn 13. And I want to urge your viewers today to call a father, to call a brother, to call an uncle, and tell your son, I appreciate you. Those words can turn a weak man to a king. Those words can turn a man from the path of suicide to the path of success and going forward like the lion he is.
Wow. Somebody say you go deeper, Pastor. Go deeper with that. Men are bleeding. Yes. You should go deeper. Well, I've got as well, what I've got from what you are talking about as well is we as parents, from when our boys are little, from when they are little children, we should allow them to be vulnerable just like the girls. Because at the end of the day, they're humans. But I think we tend to treat the boys different from the girls. And that's what somebody even said here today, said, oh, thank you so much for giving voice to our children, our boys, rather than girls today, because we so much empower and concentrate on girl child, but we totally ignore the boy child. But they have to be a balance, because if the girl child is here and the boy child is there, I mean, we're not doing them any justice, because that boy child that is damaged is still going to get together with this girl child that is empowered. And then what have we done? What the work we worked so hard with this girl child is going to be totally destroyed now, because the girl child is going to meet the damaged boy child. So I think it's time, as you say, people with social media, people who are out there, we need to start talking more and empowering more of the boys as well, so that we have a balance rather than just it's a one way right now about girls. So that's why I really wanted you to talk about boys, because I know this is your passion. I know you love talking about boys and men alike. So the men should have, you said you spoke about safe space for a man. So what do you mean safe space for a man?
And within first the men themselves. You know, there are men who love gossiping. I'm not talking about those ones. A man I'm in a group called Muscles, and our mantra and our motto is "Leave no man behind." And what am I talking about? I'm reminded of this story where a man fell in a pit and he couldn't get out, and the first man was passing, and he says, "Please help me, help me." And then the man wrote a note, and then he says, "I'm a doctor. When you get out of this place, come, I will treat you." And then he walked on. And then the second man passed, and this guy at the pit says, "Help me." And the man just looked and wrote a note and said, "I'm a lawyer. When you get out, please see me. We shall sue whoever did this." And the third man was passing, and this man says, "Help me." And what did this third man do? He jumped into the pit. And this guy says, "How foolish can you be? Now we are stuck, the both of us." No, no, no. The man says, "Don't worry. I have been in this pit before. I know the way out." That's what we are talking about. Where you say, "Listen, I know how it feels. I will not judge you. I will not gossip you. I will not use it against you. I know what you're struggling with. I understand what divorce can do to a man. I understand what losing a job can do. I understand you're having suicidal thoughts. I have been there. Please let me hold your hand." And it's nothing wrong with somebody holding your hand. In fact, just stretching your hand, accepting a hand of help is a sign of strength. And I'm saying to men, be another man's safe space, because we know the things we're battling with.
Wow. Whew, that is deep. I hope men are listening, because it's always women listening. Today, I just hope men are listening. And someone say, yeah, it is very important to find, to identify the right father figure for your children. And kudos to all the models, the role models out there. But yeah, it is important, because like you said, there's some things that a mother cannot identify herself with the son. It's only a man who can actually identify themselves together with the boy.
Yes,
so it's important. Yeah, so it's important to find that father figure, whether it's an uncle or brother or neighbor, a good neighbor, or a teacher even, or a pastor, or a friend, anybody. But just that person as well has to be the right person to mentor your child, your boy child. Otherwise, they always say that the volume and the sound out there is powerful than the voice and the volume in the house. The voice out there is so powerful. So if you don't get that for your boy child, they'll go out there and get someone else who will talk to them. And that's how they'll be joining gangs and drugs and alcohol and sex. And definitely, of course, they will never tell you. Before you know it, someone knocks your door and say your child is in a gang, or your child has killed someone, or your child has been killed because they were in a gang, or your child is brought home totally drunk, they cannot even walk, and then that's the time you now start blaming yourself. Where was I? Where was I? Absolutely. So as parents, again, we're not blaming parents, we're just talking, this is just a voice of reasoning today with Robert Kulari. It's just a voice of reasoning to parents. So don't feel like anybody's pointing fingers at you, anybody's blaming you or anything, but we just want to get it right. Because to be honest, we've lost. We're lost. We've missed. We lost something somewhere on the way, and we need to find it. Otherwise, this generation, like we say, that they're the leaders of tomorrow, they'll be worse than what's happening right now. We will not have any leaders to lead us. So thank you very much. So again, actually somebody said, I think there's a lot of comments here and a lot of great to have mentors for your son, but be aware of those who nominate as mentors. A lot of boys are being sexually abused and raped. Yeah, so yeah, of course. Of course. Do you want to say something about that comment?
Yes, absolutely. By Hadija Buni, Shinobi. Yes, we have to be very careful, because some of the people who molest children, who rape children, are people known to them. You have to be very careful. You have to look at the telltale signs. You just can't give somebody authority over your child simply because they're your neighbor. You can't just say, go and sleep over there to your neighbors or to your friends because you know them. Some of these people are the ones who have raped and abused children. Some of the vices like drugs and alcohol have been inculcated in our children during these sleepovers. You understand? So you have to carefully, and I agree with her, DJ, you have to be extremely careful. You have to have checked that person out. You have to have check their value system, because a rapist is no longer the one who looks at like a rapist. The rapist is the smiling neighbor. The rapist is the one who drives that big car that every child wants to go and play around the car, or let's have a look at your car. That is the rapist. The rapist is that sometimes, and I'm going to say it as it is, that uncle, that cousin. Those are the dangerous people. So carefully, before you allow somebody to have access to your child, please carefully check them out, and prayerfully as well, so that the Spirit of the Lord will guide you to the right person. Otherwise, many people have been damaged by people known to them. It is on the foundation of trust that some of these wicked people take advantage to hurt these young children.
And I think on that as well, on that point, what I've realized as well is even happens in the UK. It's not just in Africa, because I know in Africa it's worse. But when we don't listen to our children, because I know I've interacted with some people, a lady who is from Ghana, I won't call her name or anything, but she told her mom that the stepdad was actually raping her. And the mom actually beat her instead and said, what were you doing? How are you dressed? How are you this? And sent her back packing to Ghana. So she's in Ghana right now, and the woman is still living with the stepdad. And I'm thinking, how? I don't understand. That one is something that I will never get myself to understand. And we also have a girl, her mom is in America right now, and the same thing happened. And this is the UK. So where parents, uncles or aunties or stepdads are molesting our children, and when they tell you, you're not listening to them.
Right. And allow me to say this. It is painful when somebody asks a girl who has been raped, how were you dressed? Or did you wear some revealing clothes? First and foremost, I think it's absolutely wicked to ask somebody who has just been raped, who has gone through that heinous act of being raped, that were you dressed up inappropriately. I want to tell you something. A rapist is a rapist, even if that person had the longest of dresses or the tightest of trousers. A rapist is a rapist. We cannot blame. Somebody is hurting, and we are asking them such questions. Now, back to, and somebody commented and saying, children should be able to speak to their parents. We've got to have that avenue. Now, allow me to tell the parents something.
Go on. Go deep, coach.
I go deeper.
Go deeper.
You have to be this to your children. You have to be a friend. You have to be a counselor. You have to be a commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The friend is the one who tells the child, you can talk to me. I will listen to you. Even if what they're saying is annoying you, please listen to them. And then you got to be their counselor. When it's time to be the counselor, remove the heart of the friend and say, listen, if you go this way, you are going to get hurt. And then there'll come a time, and this goes with ages, when the time comes to be the commander-in-chief, the kids also must know, if you mess about. I mean, when we were growing up, all we needed to see is a side eye from our parent, and we'll stop doing some nonsense. You even get scared of thinking about, if not even saying, thinking about sneaking to go to the club, because they knew how to be friends, they knew how to be counselors, and they knew how to be the commander-in-chief. But I want to concentrate on the friend, the environment of, hey, you can talk to me, I understand. Then that's when they will be able to tell you, hey, dad, hey, mom, when Uncle so-and-so hugged me, he pressed so hard on me. And then you're like, oh. But if every time they come and tell you something and you're like, how stupid are you? Don't you respect the elders? When the danger signs are there, they will not tell you. You know, hey, dad, mom, Uncle so-and-so, when he hugged me, he lifted me up and then he pressed himself on me. Oh, then you're like, okay, if only we can allow our children space to speak to us, we shall save very many children from a lot of danger. Because, hear me, and let every parent hear today, these sleepovers you take your children is the devil's headquarters. Not all, but most of them. The neighbor who you say, it's okay, I'm getting late. At that time, a parent is smoking shisha in a club and tells the child, go and watch TV at the neighbor's. What do you mean? That neighbor could be that man salivating on your son or your daughter. We need as parents to wake up. Let's go back to the old type of parents. But the problem, if today I found somebody's child misbehaving and I pinch them, the same parent will come holding their hand akimbo and say, how dare you touch my abuju buju? How dare you touch my baby? And and we need to get back to the place where society can discipline our children. But right now we are competing. We are trying to say, don't touch my child. And yet, listen, your child was misbehaving. Now, this new age, and I will say it until the cows come home. Some people don't like this message from me, but the new age kind of parenthood is the one that is hurting our children. We are investing. Do you know what? Can I shock you?
Yeah, go on.
Punishment now is not hard. Punishment is, I will change the Wi-Fi password. That is punishment. Punishment is, I will not buy you pizza next week on Tuesday. Punishment is, face the wall for 10 minutes. They don't care. They have been twerking for 10 months. So facing the wall is part of their job description anyway. How do you tell a child face the wall? That child has been twerking in clubs or on WhatsApp groups anyway. We need to get back to the old type kind of parenthood. Otherwise, we are losing a generation. We are losing a generation that children can stand toe to toe and argue with the parents and talk to the parents as if they're age mates. Let me tell you something. Even the Bible is very clear. There is a time to discipline that child. But now we have seen, and in many countries, in the first world countries, where if you beat up your child, they can sue you and they can take the child away from you. So it's sad. That's why government must do a lot. Government must also allow parents to discipline their children. Government must also allow. If they're not going to allow the parents to discipline their children, they better create more prisons, because we are raising animals who will be jailed and they'll be on government accommodation. So please, let the governments in the first world countries, wherever, don't interfere too much. Allow parents some leeway to also discipline their children. But nowadays, you pinch your child in 10 minutes, because every child has a phone. There's a hotline, text, I am in danger. And then they come, they arrest the parents in front of the children, and the children say, bye-bye, mommy, bye-bye, daddy. You just say bye-bye. When I come, I will slap you to be a 360-degree turn. Because we will be crying about these children.
And in fact, even them doing that makes the children disrespect their parents, because they're like, oh, so someone else can actually do this to you. So the disrespect also comes in.
Yes.
And like you said, like parents, we need to be counselor of our children. We need to be friends to our children, and we also need to be commander-in-chief, which means discipline. Yes. And now it's because now they've turned discipline into abuse. So now every time you talk about discipline, someone will say, oh, that's abuse. So they've misplaced the word of discipline. And now everybody's being careful. Everybody is walking on eggshells because, oh my God, I don't want to do this, because they'll see it as abuse. But there's a difference between abuse and discipline. And you as a parent, you need to identify those two, and you need to discipline your children. Because if you don't, we have a Swahili saying, asiyefunzwa na mamaye atafunzwa na ulimwengu. Now, when ulimwengu takes over, that's when you see your child being put those tires in, like in Kenya. Now I'm talking about, they'll put the tire on your child and ban your child. Imagine somebody coming to knock your door and say your child was banned by a tire just because you didn't discipline this child. The world will discipline this child for you. Your child is in prison. Your child has killed someone else's child.
Yes.
Or your child do you understand? Those are things that we need to identify, discipline and abuse, and we need to discipline our children. So
and of
now,
course, somebody had commented, and the discipline must be in the parameters of respectability and make sure there is no bodily harm. Don't say you are disciplining your child because you came in drunk and you're beating everybody, slapping everybody. No. We're not talking about that, because also there's some parents who have abused the grace of being a parent. We've got to be very, very careful not to cross the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now coming back to that of we're losing our children. So what's the plan? What is the plan? We're losing our children. What is the plan? What is the plan? What can we do?
Yes, we are losing our children, but the first thing, if you have a headache and you go to the doctor and you say you have a stomachache, you have gone to the right place, but they'll give you the wrong medicine. So number one is to accept that there is a problem. We have failed as parents. Before we even point the fingers on our children, let us accept as parents, we have been too busy investing for the children, and we are not investing in our children. And that is why when you leave properties, when you're long gone, we have seen children fighting, and all the wealth that parents had built for 40, 50 years has gone up in the smoke. You understand what I'm saying? So accept that there is a problem, and let's go back to the drawing board. As parents, where have we gone wrong? Because we are blaming our children for twerking. You should see parents twerking in the nightclubs with their twerking more than the twerkers themselves. You understand? And then now say, okay, fine. Should we need also to create time, to spend time, the presence. You know, I remember, I've never, at my age, I remember playing a game with my mom. And I can't, I don't know how to sing, but I'll try and sing. Marobotanda, robo, marobotanda. I remember, and then we were playing lifting stones, my mom and my siblings. At my age, I have never forgotten that. You understand what I'm saying? Today, I look forward to going and visiting my mom in the village and spending time with her, because you know, those games, those moments I do remember with my dad. He was playing this game of squash and golf. He would tell me, son, please come. I never liked going, especially when he was playing golf, but he knew what he was doing. While you were walking and as he's playing golf, he was giving me words of wisdom. He was telling me this. And I remember, and I look back and I say, some of the things I do today, positive things, are as a result of some of the things my father told me while we were walking in the golf course, and I didn't like it then. Nowadays, hear me. A child says, you tell a child, let's go to church. Oh, no, mom, I don't feel church. I want to watch the Kardashians, and I want to watch what? Okay, you watch. I'm going to, what do you mean watch? You understand? Tell them, let's go. There's some of these times, these are some of the times families bond. As you are driving to church, you are talking and you're singing. As you are driving to have lunch and to visit your uncles, you are talking in the car and you are laughing. Those are bonding sessions that later in life you will see the value when our children become respectable people in society, honorable people who understand the value of relationships. Nowadays, children understand the values of the phone. All they're looking is from one thing, and you know, let me tell you something. Imagine a kid saying, "Have you heard about this gossip?" Which gossip? A kid is telling a parent, "Have you heard about this gossip?" Because they're on gossip on social media all the time. Comes a time, tell the family, put your phones away. Let us just sit and watch movies as parents, as a family. It doesn't happen anymore. The children in the room, the boy is watching something, the girl is watching something, their wife is watching something, and the husband is watching something. Come Friday, the husband has gone drinking, the wife has gone to a chama. And where are the children? On social media. That is why now you have heard of this thing called autoerotic asphyxiation. Kids have learned this thing on social media, where people think some kids who people have said they committed suicide, they didn't commit suicide. It is the new way of masturbating. It is because these social media platforms. Well, let me tell you something, Lydia. Do you know there are 42 million pornography sites? They're after our children. 42 million pornography sites. Well, I got news for you. The most popular pornography site is called Pornhub. Pornhub in 2019 had 45 billion visits. In a world that has 7 billion people, it had 45 billion hits. The average age of somebody being introduced to pornography is the age of 11. By the time an 11-year-old is going to watch pornography, where is the father? Where is the mother? Some of these pornography sites, they have categories. Study, there is old, teens, grandma, who are going for the teens because there's a market for the teens. In 2012 alone, people were spending $3,000 per second on pornography sites. Now pornography is a multi-billion dollar. Do you know why it is growing in numbers? Because these people have seen a gap in the market, and the gap in the market is that parents have become too busy to raise their children, but they are not busy enough. They have enough money to give them free Wi-Fi and gadgets. So this pornography people have seen a gap in the market, and parents are too busy, but the children have access to Wi-Fi and they have the gadgets. So they're bringing to the gadgets what the children want because the parents are too busy. But if you spend time with your children, Marobo, tandarobo. When you have time with your children, they will not have time to go on social media, on Pornhub and all these pornographic sites. They will not have time for that. But they have seen a gap in the market and they have gone for it. I had a youth summit 2 weeks ago, and one of the speakers said that in Kenya, there was a ship that came with 25 billion worth of cocaine. What were they bringing for? Who were they bringing it for? For our children. So let me tell you, parents, if you don't open your eyes, there are other people who have opened their eyes and have seen the gap, and they're coming after our children. It is time to accept we have failed. We apologize to ourselves and come back and say we have opened our eyes. Go back to our children and tell our children we are sorry. We have become too busy for you. But it is time that every Friday we will be spending time as a family. Every Sunday we will be going to church. We will be going to the park. Every once in a month we will be going out of town. And let me tell you, these children, you don't have to take them to Dubai. You can even create a movie scene within the home and say, let's put pillows down here. Mom, go and make popcorns. Dad, go and bring KFC, and these are the movies. And then you get to a place where kids now say, wow, this is great. They will not look for attention in the wrong places, because if they go on social media, if they go on Google, these funny places, the porn sites are waiting for them.
Wow. 42 million. I didn't.
42 million pornography sites. And I'm sure it's growing in number. Now, 45 billion people in 2019, and in 2018, it was only 25 billion hits. Now, 45.5 billion hits in a world that has only 7 billion people. How many are watching?
Ooh,
Children are watching. Parents are watching, presidents are watching, governors are watching, prophets are watching.
Wow. And what they don't even, oh my God, that is so sad. And now, talking of doing activities with your children and going, so now as a single mother with the boy child, and the boys, we can't do things like nails with them, dressing up with them, makeup with them, like the things that we do with our girls. So what would you advise a single mother with the boy? What would they do?
And I really, Lydia, I really, to be honest, sympathize with the single mothers, because to be honest, some have just been left high and dry, and they're trying their best. And sometimes in trying their best, they may do some things that will hurt the children in the future. I remember there's a time a lady was doing a Facebook Live, and she was there with her son, and she was boasting the way her son is walking around the house with her pink high heel shoes. I inboxed that lady and I said, please don't do that. Stop sending your son to your handbag. Your son cannot be seeing your women's stuff. Let's stop telling your son to walk around with your pink shoes. And she wasn't doing it from a bad place, because there is no mother who would want to hurt the child. But it's because they are the father and the mother. So they're trying very hard. And I want to tell the ladies, single ladies, please make sure you have a male figure, because there are some boys who have sired children and have run away from them. There are some men who have embarrassed the male gender. Get a father figure who will go with your son to the barber, who will teach your son, when you go for your first short call, when you're grown enough to hold yourself, how do you do it? Shake well after use. Who will tell the son that as a man, you always must be on the left? Those are small things, but they're important. That and I'm sure there's some grown men who didn't realize that you are, as a man, and you understand what I mean by your strongholds, must always be on your left. Otherwise, if you put them on your right, you live and struggle to walk comfortably. And who is going to teach your son how to go to the loo? Who is going to teach your son how to respect women? Who is going to teach your son how to tie a tie? As much as the mothers would want, I mean, you don't want to go holding your son's stronghold when he reaches an age of his awareness of his manhood. Let him be taught by a father figure. And I'm asking any man who has sired a child, yes, maybe things did not work out between you and the mother of your child, but don't let your child suffer. Don't let your boy, don't let your son suffer. Rise above your personal differences. And when it comes to parenthood, I feel so vexed and very bad when I see men running away from their responsibility. And I've also seen men who have stopped taking care of their children because their baby mamas have moved on with another man. Maturity is required. This is your blood. This is your DNA. And it's not just about sending money. Anybody can send money. It's about being around them, within them, so that you can inculcate the things. I mean, I am very intentional in telling my daughter every day that I can, I love you, you're beautiful. You know, I mean, I don't want another man to start telling her these things and she gets excited. When a man is trying to get into this, say these funny things, she'll tell the man, no, you're not exciting me with that. My father used to tell me that. I mean, I have created an environment where my daughter can tell me something because she's 15, you understand? And her mother, who is an absolutely great mother, has also created an environment that she can talk. Because I do respect there's some things she can tell me and there's some things she can only tell the mother. So you must, as parents, work together for the better of our children. But I get it. I get so vexed when I see two grown people having their tiffs and disagreements and they're making sure it affects the children. It is not right.
Yeah. So we should allow our children to have somewhere, a safe haven, where they call safe haven, where they can tell us everything and anything that is worrying them. And wow, that is so deep. Well, this thing that you said about, because I know there are people who are watching and they're actually single parents, a lady. And this thing that you talk about, stronghold on the left, what is that? Sorry, because
you know,
I don't even know what that means.
No, and I'll tell you know, like the stronghold is a manhood, the boy's manhood. Teach them that, you know, every time you put on your trouser, it always must lean onto your left. You know, such small things. And I believe some people didn't know, you know. A lady would not. Yes, if any man who is watching and you don't believe me, after this, go to your room, put on the right and try walking. You will struggle. You understand? Always to the left. You know, small things. Teaching the boy how to shake after use. Small things like that. Who, you know, it's painful, Lydia, when I see ladies taking their boys for circumcision, not because they really want to, but because the father ran away from their responsibility. And that's why I really must also commend every single mother who is trying to work, trying to inculcate values as a father and as a mother. And that's why you get some ladies getting to a place of pressure because the men are just there with slay queens and don't know how your children are being raised. It is okay for the ladies to take their sons for circumcision, but it's even better when the father of the son is there, if he's alive. You understand what I'm saying? And that is why, for me, the richest man in this world is a man who spends time with his children. Some of the poorest people live in big mansions, drive the biggest cars, earn a six-figure salary, are very high in the corporate ladder, but they're broke because their children cannot even tell you the last time they spent time with their children. You cannot make time for a slay queen and not make time for your sons.
Exactly. And going back, that is just a priority. Again, going back to it. I just want to say thank you to all the people that are watching. I want to say thank you to the people that have told me they've shared. Please keep on sharing so everybody else can get educated. Today we have Bulari. Oh my God, this is deep. It's going deep. Things I didn't even know about, but I'm learning. So if God blesses me with the boy child, I know what to do. But I don't want children anyway, so that's fine. And I just want to say, somebody talked about discipline. Thank you very much again, people watching. And please bring your comments, bring your questions, share, like, and mostly comments. We want to see your comments. Somebody said, oh, great talk. But at times, I believe punishment is not a solution. Nowadays, children have their rights catered for in the Constitution, and punishment may lead to controversial with authorities. I think such forums here are helpful. Hence, parents should not subject their children to severe punishment. I advocate for guiding and counseling. The thing is, I'll let you answer that as well. But the thing is, a lot of times, and I did say this, people have misplace the word of punishment and abuse. There is a difference between punishment and abuse. And I don't think myself or Robert will sit here and say, abuse your children. Nobody will say that. Punishment, yes, you have to punish your children. Find what works for you as a parent. But the thing is now, people misuse words. Before it was just punishment, and punishment meant punishment. Now, when you talk about punish your child, everybody starts, oh, please, that's abuse, that's abuse. And that is where we're losing our children. If we want to say that we don't believe in punishment, I mean, a child has to be punished. Even the Bible rightfully says, but not abuse. That's the difference between punishment and abuse. So do you want to add anything on top of that, Robert?
I mean, lady, you've said it all. We are not advocating for abuse, and anybody who abuses their children must face the full force of the law based on the legal and the constitutional affair, whatever framework. But discipline is of paramount importance. And I thank God, to be honest with you, that I went through some discipline from my father, because there are some things I have achieved now by the grace of God is because my father put in some discipline into my head. Even the Bible says, he who does not discipline the child does not love the child. Even God will discipline us. Do you know even Jesus went to a church and removed a whip and he was whipping people? Jesus himself. But abuse is something else. There are people who abuse their children. But the truth of the matter, we have to discipline our children. And that's why schools, government, churches, parents, public figures must work together so that our others, if they're not careful, another 10 years, will have a very damaged world.
Yeah. Someone also said parents also need to have healthy boundaries. Some parents do not know the difference between being friendly or poor parenting. Each party should know their role right from birth. The child needs to understand that their parent has a responsibility towards them and vice versa. We are raising entitled children who think they are lord over their parents. What would you say about that?
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
I mean, a parent can call you. Kids can call you and say, bring me 1,000 airtime. Make sure you bring 3 pizzas. What? If I even thought about that during my time, I would even start apologizing before I even ask for the pizza, And there's nothing wrong with kids asking, but you got to understand the foundation. I mean, yes, parents can afford. And because you can afford does not mean you should dance to their tune. You got to make the children understand. Yes, I can afford. But do you know at some point you will release the children to go to the world? And if you raise your children thinking, saying that anything we want, we get. Anything we demand for, we get. Whether it's going to be possible or not, but we demand for it. The moment you release them to the world is a very dangerous place. The world does not care. The world will not dance to your tune. You got to make them understand the world will not respond the way you want all the time. And if you don't, by the time they go out there and the world does not respond to what they want, they now start thinking about suicide. They start thinking about depression when they're denied some things. Let me tell you. And I want to tell parents this. Some may agree, some may not agree. Sometimes tell your children, today you will not have pizza. Yes, I have the money, but we will not have pizza. Let us go to the house and cook. But because you have money, pizza, which one? Which flavor? Meat deluxe. Another one, and then after pizza, which ice cream? Strawberry. Oh no, I don't like strawberry. Halfway. Okay, so can I buy vanilla? Let me tell you, yes, God has blessed you. You have money, but money without wisdom is like a black man in a dark room winking at a black woman and expecting a reaction. Life will not give you something positive.
Thank you. And somebody also has a question, but I'm sure you can still answer, even though she's relating it to London. She said, in London, we have had some children who have died because of knife crimes. How can you help parents or guardians to get them towards understanding the importance of ensuring it's not all work?
They've died in where? In night gangs?
Yeah, knife crimes. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you spoke about I lived in the UK. Yes, I lived in the UK for over 10 years. I lived in Leicester. And I think what needs to happen is that there has to be mentors. It's important for kids to know authority, because you can never be a person of authority if you're not a person under authority. And once in a while, I think they should take these children and let them be talked to by people who were jailed because of crime, drugs, and let them understand. And then once in a while, if the government can allow and create a possibility where some of these children can go to the prisons, and let them see people who had been jailed from the age of 15 and now it's 30 years later, they're still there. They have to be brought down to reality very, very quickly. And these people will tell them, I didn't listen to my mom. Let me tell you something, and something that broke my heart. The other day, a friend of mine told me something. The friend of mine told me her son sent her a message and said, Mom, I wish you were more strict to me. I would not be where I am today. And then he sent a message to his brother and told the brother, the younger brother, please listen to mom. Because if I didn't listen to mom, look at where I am. You understand what I'm saying? Now, let in London, please create places where former drug addicts can talk to these people. Because you got to, I mean, when you talk about, and it's not a secret, I went through addictions myself. I went through strip club addictions, and I know the dangers of these things. And I struggled with it for 15 years. Let me tell you, if I sat with young boys, I would tell them the dangers of sexual immorality. I would tell them the dangers of these addictions that take you to places that you wonder, how will I come out? So let me show you my scars. I'm the kind of person who is not embarrassed to show the scars of the mistakes that I did. And these children must understand our mistakes are the lessons that they should not go the way we went. Because I fell in a ditch and God got me out. But you, who has the privilege to listen to me, who fell in a ditch, if you blindly go to that ditch, you may not get out. So we need mentors who are willing to speak. But the problem we have is public figures. And by the grace of God, I have some visibility. I'm called a public figure in Kenya. Most public figures want to show perfection. Most public figures want to show everything is okay. Nobody is willing to talk about their struggles. Nobody is willing to say, oh my goodness, I messed up here. Nobody is willing to say that. And now these kids think that if they make a small mistake, they feel like they're the only ones who have made the mistakes, and they write a suicide note and they kill themselves. I want to talk to these young people, and I tell them, listen, I struggled with sex. I struggled with strip club addictions, but I got out. So I struggled for 15 years. You have only struggled for 5 days. Don't commit suicide. Don't go into a depression. Listen to me. I got out. I will hold your hand and I will get out. I have my inbox full of kids struggling with masturbation. I have in my inbox people suicidal. Let me tell you, I don't condemn them. I have tried myself committing suicide 3 times, and I will tell them it is not worth it. But the problem is public figures, Lydia, want to appear perfect. Nobody wants to show their weaknesses. Nobody wants to show their struggles. Come to me. I will show you my scars. I will tell you how I messed up. But I will tell you I'm standing because of the grace of God. But the problem is in social media, everybody's perfect. When people stand to speak, oh, I made my first million at the age of 20. Oh, I've never been poor. I always eat chips. No, tell these young people the truth so that they know we have blundered, but there is hope. And I want to tell to every young person, because I know I saw there's a lady who is watching this with a 16-year-old. I want to tell these young people, hold on one more day. Help is on the way. Because young people now, the age for suicidal thoughts has gone to between 14 and 25. These are young people. Why? The pressures of society. Let us get to a place where we are willing to speak about our failures, show these young people the scars, so that the parents will have children who know it is okay not to be okay, but at least I will be okay as long as I hold on for one more day.
Whoa, that, whoa, parents, that's good teaching. And somebody says sometimes teenagers don't listen to their parents because they're discovering all the hormones that are confusing to them. Parents are deemed not cool. How do you break the barriers?
First and foremost, some of the kids are not listening to their parents because the words of their parents are not going hand in hand with the behavior of their parents. You're telling your children, don't go out. Going out is dangerous. You're coming back smelling of alcohol. When the children wake up, you have belched all over the sitting room. When they wake up, they get into the sitting room to have breakfast, and it's just ponging of alcohol. Another thing, parents don't seem to, in fact, sometimes when your children don't tell you are not cool, it is a backhanded compliment to tell you you are doing the right thing. But let our words and our actions be like twins. But we cannot just use the authority of our parents. Don't do this. Don't do this. What are you doing? And then you're the one chief twerking somewhere else.
Okay. Well, I like this. Somebody just commented as well and said, disciplining a child is not a crime. Even in the Bible, Proverbs 23:13 says, do not withhold discipline from your child. If you strike him with the rod, he will not die. Instead, you're saving his or her soul. And you made a comment there when you said a child came, and I always say this, and a child came and said to the parent, to the mom, that I wish you could have disciplined me. I wish you could have done this. When my daughter was young and she was only 7 years old, and anytime I went shopping, I used to buy sweets. I used to put sweets in the shopping list because she's my only child, and that one is spoiler, and that's the wrong thing. And that's where we parents sometimes get it wrong. Why would you buy sweets for your child? It's gonna spoil their teeth anyway. But I wasn't thinking like that. I'm just thinking of my child. Let me spoil her. And her teeth go rotten anyway. So we took her to the dentist. And the dentist said, oh, does she eat sweets because her teeth is rotten? Do you know this girl? And anytime I didn't put sweets on the shopping list, she would tell me, Mommy, where are my sweets? And I feel so bad. But I remember the dad used to tell me, stop buying sweets for this child. But did I listen? No. I thought, you're a man. You don't know anything. This is my girl. I want to spoil her. The girl turned to me in front of the dentist and the dad and said, Mommy, it's your fault. You're the one who buys me sweets. A 7-year-old. Since then, I was like, wow, this is a lesson. And I never repeated that. She was the one who wanted the sweets, and I was the one buying it. And yet she turned around and said, Mommy, it's your fault. So parents, if anything goes wrong with the children, they will blame us and say it's your fault. So you have to discipline your child. You have to train them. And I will say it again and again and again. Discipline is not abuse. Don't abuse your children. We're not advocating for abuse. Don't abuse your children, but you can discipline them. Okay, and then somebody also
allow me to add this.
Go on.
I have a good friend. She's a doctor in America, a single mother. I remember one time she was telling me the journey she has been with her daughter. They slept in motels. Today she's doing very well with this girl who is very disciplined and an academic giant. And I said, what are the secrets? Is all through in lack, she still inculcated values. In plenty, she still inculcated values. Let's inculcate values. Today, that mother is happy because she's always attending functions to do the daughter which certificate of excellence, while others are asking, why are you twerking? Others are just receiving certificates. Others are asking their children, why are you drinking? This one is getting award after award and scholarship after scholarship. Parents, inculcate the value. It's not about because you're eating pizza. Discipline does not involve having a 5-star or a 5-course meal. Even in lack, the words of wisdom will still fall into a receptive heart.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And somebody just said, well, I never knew, at least I've learned something new. Oh God, this girl.
I saw that.
She said, she didn't know that Mjulu's lean on the left. Well, I didn't know that either. And I think it's good you say that because we have single parents here who didn't even know that. And they have boys. So that is a good, where the men have done a run out, the men have decided to go wherever they go. And those are things I didn't know. My boy children, who are all young men, now have asked me questions that only a father should have answered. Thanks for speaking out some truth on this.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a difference. Yes, somebody just agreed with that. Difference between punishment and, okay. So there's so many questions there again. I will go back to them. Okay, yes, talking from experience really helps the young people. Yes, that someone is just complimenting what you said, what you've been through. So some teenagers don't listen to their parents, okay? And discipline is not a crime. I've read that already. And yes, so going back now, this 25 million cocaine, this one I've just caught me. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Okay. Now I had a conversation with the youth before. I had a conversation with the youth.
Right.
And they actually left parents to think. They had 5 points, 5 really serious points here. They say parents, they had adaptability. They had friendship with that. I know you've spoken about friendship already. They had succeeding in your own goals, and they had listening to understand and not to respond, and communication. So those were the 5 points that they gave parents.
Right.
Would you mind just to expand and elaborate more to us as parents, these
Yes.
points?
Communication. Never stop talking to your children. I will tell you why. Other things are speaking to our children every day. Social media is speaking to our children. Funny friends are speaking to our children. Some funny voices are speaking to our children. Never ever stop speaking to your children. Number 2, listen to understand and not just to respond. Yes, remember, your child is a teenager. You are not a teenager. So when they're speaking, picture or take yourself to their 16, 17-year-old mind, and their view of life is different because you are looking at life from a place of experience, having been on the face of this earth longer than your children. And also understand that they are growing in a digital era where there is an overflow of information, and they're listening to so many things, but they're looking for a voice of reason that will calm them and center them. But every time you listen to them, and every time you say, no, shut up. And then sometimes, to be honest with you, I've been guilty of even interrupting when my daughter is speaking. And I realize, no, if we don't let them speak, we will miss out on the hidden message. In fact, allow them to continue speaking, because the truth is that they may not say what they really want to say, but if you listen to them long enough, hidden within the many sentences and statements is the real message that is telling you as a parent, decipher that and get help. Sometimes you may get your child, your son, asking you very many questions about maybe sexuality, and you think they're just asking because they were watching a movie. No, in between there, they're telling you, Dad, Mom, I'm struggling with my sexuality. But if you listen to respond, you will actually not be hearing what they're saying. You understand? And the other one was adaptability. Just let's just dance with the tune. Look at and when I mean dance with the tune, not just to the tune of negativity. Understand this generation. I mean, if you told your child about those cassettes, the ones you'd put a pen in the middle and then you rewind them like this. If you talk to them about that, they will not understand. Even as parents, we must understand the signs and the seasons and the times we are in. We always also must be ahead in information, adapt to what is happening, what is Facebook saying, what are the sites, why is every child on TikTok, what are they getting there? Why is it that in Snapchat, when I look at some of these social media platforms, they give you a way that after 3 seconds, you can delete a photo. And then you ask yourself, why is my child on this Snapchat or this platform? Because they are posting funny things, and after 3 seconds they'll delete it so that my parents don't know. Which was the other one?
Succeed in your own goals.
Yes, it's also important to let the children be their own, because the Bible, in the book of Jeremiah chapter number 1, the Bible says, before you were born I knew you, before you were birthed I consecrated you. You got to understand, yes, you as a parent are a lawyer, maybe your child was born to be a movie star. So you do not want to live your life through your children. Make sure you tell them and make sure they understand that you were born for a purpose. You are not here to be a rubber stamp. You are not here to escort people. You are here to be your own man. And that's why you hear some children saying, I studied law, but I don't practice law. And you say, why don't you practice law? It's a very good career. And they tell you, no, I didn't want to do law. I did law because my parents wanted me to do law. Hear me and hear me good. We as parents should never tell the children what they should be. Our responsibility as parents is to help them discover why they were born.
Okay, wow, that is awesome. That, and somebody also said, as parents, we try the best we know, but with today's society, the children think they know it all. You say the truth, and they don't want to know you as a parent. As long as I have said my share and what I think is best for my child, and they don't want to listen, there's always the world to teach them better, and they will always learn the hard way. What do you think of a parent with that mentality?
I think it's dangerous because sometimes if we just let them to the world, there'll be a tire on their neck and they'll be burned. And we shall be burying our children. We should never give up on our children. We are where we are because our parents did not give up on us. And let me tell you something. Sometimes these children behave like they haven't listened, but in their quiet moment, they start replaying everything you told them. And sometimes when you realize they're rejecting everything you're saying, maybe the way of communication. Imagine, let me give you an example. Listen to these words. I love you. And then listen to this. I love you. I have said the same thing. But the first one, I love you, will be more accepted. It is sometimes the way we give the information. It's like going to two restaurants. They both serve fries, but one puts the plate properly and say, enjoy your meal, and another one bangs the plate on the table. It is the same food, but presented differently. So sometimes when you see our children not accepting what we are saying, yet we know it is wisdom, we may just need to change our way of relaying the message and communicating to them. Like in marketing, the greatest thing, if a customer is disagreeing with you and you know you are right, don't keep on saying, doing this on your head because you're telling them no. If they're disagreeing and you know what they're saying is wrong, just keep on nodding your head. And then when they finish, you say, I understand what you're saying, but allow me to give you another angle. You know, so we tell our children, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but you know, if you go this way, these are the risks. Maybe let's try this way. And the kid says, wow, mom and dad has understood where I'm coming from, but out of respect, they have also told me to try this. And as long as they try what you have told them that is right, they will realize, hang on a minute, this is the right way. And you'll see slowly but surely your children are walking into the paths of integrity, into the paths of success within the parameters of a good child.
Thank you very much for that. And like we said, somebody also said, I am one such parent, never beat my kid, but I used other methods for generating positive discipline. We can all learn. Yeah, and that's what we say, that as parents, you need to know your children as well. You need to know what discipline works, because even some children, you can beat them, it never works. You beat them, they just know, oh, like me personally, I'll be honest, I used to be, and I know my sister is watching, she can say, yes, I believe that. I used to be the most rebellious child in our family. I'm the third born, so my sister watching, she's the firstborn. My mom always say that our firstborn and secondborn, they were really good until I came. I disrupted all the peace in the house. I was the naughtiest. I was really bad. That I got to a point where I used to say I will never have children. So everybody knows that. Some people even say they have to see my child to believe that. And I had to pray to God that, please, God, don't let my children become like who I was when I was a teenager, because I was so rebellious. And my mom used to beat me, but it never worked. She would beat me with everything in the house. It never worked. I didn't care. But one day, I don't even know what got to her. I came back home and this woman didn't beat me. She didn't say nothing to me. And I was sick, worried in my head. What's this woman going to do? Is she going to kill me?
What is she planning?
Why is she planning? Why is she not beating me? Because she beats me all the time. The woman didn't touch me. She didn't say nothing. I went again next week, the same thing. So I stopped. I just changed my behavior because of what my mom stopped beating me. So sometimes, yes, beating a child doesn't work, but find out what works for your child. But you have to discipline your child, whichever direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And somebody said as well, what do you know a boy child needs help? When do you know? Okay. And also, just before I read this question from Acapella, I wanted to say as well is discipline starts early, Robert. You know what some parents do, because they say that, oh, it's a child. And this country especially, I've seen children calling their parents stupid. I've seen children hitting their parents. But because the child is really, really small, people say, oh, she's cute. Oh, he's cute. It is not cute to hit your parents. It is not cute to cry for a phone, and the parents will just give their children the phone because they're crying. Oh, mommy, but I want to play. And I think that's where problem starts. And then now when they're teenagers, you want to start disciplining them. It doesn't work like that. You have to start when your children are young. And that's why we have this saying in Swahili, samaki mkunje akiwa mbichi. Oh, angali, eh?
Yes, Swahili sanifu, unanipata, ile Swahili sanifu.
Sawa.
But even the Bible says, train up a child, not a teenager. Train up a child. It is based on their age. The ways of discipline are different. Discipline when a child throws a tantrum at the age of 4 could be taking away the toys. But at the age of 15, you cannot take away the toys because you're not playing with toys at the time. So you understand the seasons, the age, and act accordingly. You cannot thoroughly beat a 3-year-old. You will kill them. So you understand the seasons and the ages they are in, and communicate and discipline them based on their age and the time they are in life.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you very much for everybody who is watching us today. Please share, like, comment. Okay, when do you know? When do you know a boy child needs help? When do you know that this boy is crying out and they need help?
How do you know a boy child needs help? It's sometimes behavior change. You know the personality of your child. If your child is quiet and all of a sudden they're hyper, they're all over the place, don't say, oh my goodness, he's happy now. No. That's not his personality. He's not a loud person. So it is on the extreme behavior change. It is also on sometimes a social person withdrawing from people. And then also their responses. They're rude, they're quick, they snap. Then you know they're looking for something. When they start overindulging, let me tell you, even overeating is a sign that there's a problem. It's overindulging. Anytime somebody does something to the extreme, if somebody is watching movies to the extreme, every time there's an extreme, you have to now quickly find out what the problem is. Yeah.
Wow. And someone actually, Caroline Adenya, I'm so proud of this lady, Caroline. She took it actually upon herself and started a charity in Kenya for girl child, for sanitary towels. Because we've all heard about this story of a girl just having sex with someone because of a sanitary towel. So if you have sex with the person for this month, next month, what are you going to do? Because every month your periods will come. So she took it upon herself and started this charity of giving girls sanitary towels, and her name is Caroline Adenya. So and she has she's actually put her website on there as well. So guys who are watching, I really like you to go to Caroline Adenya and support her charity, because what she's doing is something that even our government can't do. But they give free condoms and they forget that girls need sanitary towels, and they're giving you condom instead of sanitary towels, something that we have no choice. You know,
and we shall support her. Carol Adenya, please get in touch. Yeah, it is sad that government is giving condoms and not sanitary pads.
So Caroline, did you hear that? Please get in touch with Robert, and he's going to help you where he can. So thank you very much, Robert, for that. Actually, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Someone say, my mom never beats us. The punishment was she denies you dinner. You will sleep on empty stomach, and tomorrow you will change your bad behavior. So that is what worked for them. Wow. Their mom
especially
never
if it's a Luya. You deny a Luya child food, they will change for life.
Oh God, that is so funny. Luya, in fact, you deny them ingoho. They'll
Yes.
behave.
Being a lawyer is an eating program.
It is. And someone also just commented that moms who exchange different men in the house in front of their teenage daughters and in the house in one bedroom. Isaac Robert. I think somebody was she's asking this question that
Yes,
the women,
yes.
do you understand? So can you
Yes.
touch on to that, please?
Yeah, ladies, before single mothers rather, do not introduce every man to your kids. Today it's Uncle Philip, tomorrow it's Uncle John. You're like an NGO. You only introduce the man who you're sure is interested in your future and is interested in being with you long term, and long term in deep enough to say, I want you, I will accept your children as though they are mine. But it's, imagine if you're a lady, single lady, and you have daughters and sons. What are you telling the daughters? It is okay to have multiple sons, boyfriends. And what are you telling your son? Women should not be respected because you can just use women as object. You've got to be very, very careful. And if there's a single mother watching, the only person you need to introduce to your children is the one who you are full of, almost sure that this is the person you will spend the rest of your life with. Otherwise, it's uncle this, uncle that, auntie this, auntie that. You will confuse the children and you will see the manifestation of this bad behavior later in life, and you wonder why your children are doing that, and yet it is a behavior that they saw. And somebody even said here, we have women who are changing in front of their children. No, stop. You do not want your 10-year-old son to start getting used to ties.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you have boys, you cannot start changing in front of them.
No, don't. You see, you say, oh, they're innocent, only 7, only 8. No. But remember, everything they see is stored somewhere. Then they'll be like, okay, at 15, they'll be telling their friends in Bible study, please show me your thighs. There's no biggie. I mean, I'm used to thighs. Just show me your thighs. Let me touch your thighs.
Wow.
And then you wonder why at 16, children are having sexual relations with their fellow 16-year-olds. So as a lady, please, yes, it's your child. You know you are innocent. You don't want to, you're not looking at your child in funny ways. But let me tell you, non-verbal communication has very deep repercussions.
That is deep. Someone say go deeper, Pastor. That is deep. I can't believe that. I didn't even know that. So someone said, how can the coach address the issue of negative peer influence among our teenage boys? I think that's peer pressure.
All right, peer pressure. It's the best way to deal with peer pressure is to make sure that your children understand what identity is. Identity is an inside job. It's for them to understand who they are on the inside and not be controlled by what is happening on the outside. Because if you dance to the tune of your neighbor's music, and yet the tune in your house has stopped playing, you will be dancing to what the neighbor is playing. So make your sons have such an identity. And let me tell you, I am still a pastor, and you will hear a lot of Bible statements from me. Our identity is in our revelation of Christ. Once you know the revelation of Christ, it mirrors to us. So just know you are here for a purpose. You are not here to escort anybody. Don't make anybody make you feel useless. Don't make anybody make you feel like you don't belong. So the moment we inculcate those values and have an identity, then when negativity comes, your kids, your sons will be ready to say, no, this is not who I am. This is not my value system. Let them base their identity on value system.
Okay, thank you very much. Somebody also said the worst thing is if you compare your children. That is really bad. And not just comparing.
Don't compare your children.
Yeah. Go on.
Because if you compare your children, you expect them to be the same. Let me tell you, there are the children from the same family. One is loud. Like for me, I have a brother. My brother is very laid back. He will not stand and speak to 10,000 people. On the other hand, give me 1 million people and I'll have mental orgasms. You understand what I'm saying? So you can now start comparing somebody else's strength and putting down the other person. You understand what I'm saying? My brother is quiet. I am loud. So that does not mean being quiet is a negative thing. You understand? Or being loud is a kimbelembele thing. So if you start comparing children, you'll make them feel that they have to be like somebody else to be accepted. Let the children go in the way that they have been graced by God. And that's why every parent must read Jeremiah chapter number 1. Before you were born, I knew you. Before you were birthed, I consecrated you. This is God speaking to individuals. He never made a carbon copy, just the way our fingerprint, all the 7 billion people on the face of this earth have a unique fingerprint to themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. And somebody, Angela Karanja, she's actually a psychiatrist. She just added on and said also the growth of bits as in breast and other private parts of the mother can stimulate a young boy.
Yeah, stigmatize. Yes, absolutely. That's very true. I mean, very well said statement. So we just need to be in knowledge. Sometimes we think what you're doing in front of our children is innocent. Changing in front of your child, showing your child the breast, I'm changing. No. Later in life, they will start manifesting some wrong things.
And someone said, I know you said you lived in Europe as well. You lived in Manchester, right? Manchester.
Yes.
Yeah, Manchester.
Leicester.
Oh, Leicester. Okay, Leicester. Leicester, that is a city of pleasure, they call it.
Yes.
So what does the coach, what does he think about children in Europe or the West, as he met some, and how can he encourage the boy child to visit Kenya?
You know, I'm assuming that is a parent of is a Kenyan and maybe got a child in the UK and the child has not visited Kenya. There's something called the root. If you cut a branch of a tree, it will grow. If you cut the root of the tree, even at the smell of water or at the touch of water, it still will not grow. Now, if you have children who are born there and your root is African, I humbly ask, make a point of bringing the children here. Just tell them, I want you to see where your bloodline has come from. You see, and I'm going to say something, and I read it somewhere, but this is my own thinking. President Barack Obama started the journey of presidency not when he publicly announced he's running for president. The journey to his presidency started many years ago when he came to Kenya to find out about his root. And maybe there he realized in his bloodline, they raised leaders, and he believed then he can be a leader. Let all the children understand that the root where their parents have come from is a place that they must come and pay homage to. It just makes you have a deep understanding of who you are. Yeah.
Thank you. And also, I just want to touch on this. I know we spoke about this a little bit earlier, but just going back, the fact that when parents separate or they divorce, they actually use their children as scapegoats or a battlefield.
Yes.
And I know it's so much on the women. I'm a woman, yes, I am, but I know it's a lot of women who actually use their children to punish the men per se. And I know I was talking to a lady yesterday, actually, who said the mom wanted to punish the dad, that you're not going to see your children. So because of that, she sent them separate. One went to their grandma, one went to I don't know where, one went to where, just because she didn't want the dad to see the children. And the girl said she suffered so much that even up to now, she's over 40, she still reminds her mom. And of course, there's nothing the mom can do. It's long gone, but she hasn't healed from that. And I think a lot of women, they'll use, not all the women, of course, not all women, but most women, they'll use their children to punish the man. Even though sometimes the man wants to come and see the children, but the woman would say no. So how can you address that issue of stop using your children as scapegoats in the battlefield? They have nothing to do with your war.
Yeah, it is absolutely criminal for somebody to use the child as an AK-47 to shoot at the man. Yes, there's some men, I'll speak both to ladies and men, What you got to understand, if there's a disagreement between the two of you, it does not mean the children must be involved in it. What am I saying? To the child, the mother is a hero, the father is a hero. Your disagreements may be on something that has nothing to do with the children. Even if it has something to do with the children, when two bulls fight, the grass is hard. You may have your disagreements as a couple and you've gone your separate ways. But when it comes to parenthood, you're supposed to be one. Just like you've said, a 40-year-old lady is still dealing with the pains of something that happened when they were young. And the biggest mistake is when maybe it's the time for the father to be with the child. The mother says bad things about the father says bad things about the mother, you know. And when that happens, the children might just be okay because you bought them ice cream. But later in life, they will start saying, no, you said so many bad things about my mother, and they start rejecting you. Please, parents, if there's a separation, don't allow your issues, your disagreements to trickle down to the children. And the moment you do that, you'll make the children feel they were the reason that you separated. And once they start self-condemnation, they will be condemning themselves for anything that has happened around them, even when it's not their fault. You'll damage their future.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And someone said, please mention that when we take our children home, it should not be only to come for mazishi. Jane spoke to several kids from African background, and that was one reason they didn't want to come home, because they only identify it with bad news. Let's visit our moms and other relatives and seasons. Yeah, that's true, because most of the time when we take our children back home, it's because someone is dead, your mom, your dad, your grandpa, whoever. And now they relate that with just bad things. So they don't want to go to Kenya. And that's their home. We need to know that that's our home. And someone say, what of mothers who have had domestic violence and so the children dislike the father?
Yeah, Juliet, I see that. Very, very, very important question. Domestic violence is wrong. And when there's a violent man, then yes, as they're seeking help, it's also okay to keep the children away in case if at all the man has shown signs that he may be violent towards the children as well. Because we have had cases where men or even women have murdered their children. So as you're seeking help, counselors, pastors, and family, at that point, there can be a temporal separation and denying of the child, okay? Not because you're being wicked, but because you're protecting the very children the two of you brought to the face of this earth.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they dislike the father, even if a child says, I don't like my father, or I don't like my father, never add, yes, bad. No. Just tell them, listen, that is your mother, that is your father. Because even the Bible says, honor your father and your mother, not your father who is a rich man, not your father who is sober. It says in general, honor your father and your mother, and I will give you long life, and it shall be well with you.
Because we've seen so many times when most time when there's DV in the house,
yes,
they either sides, because we do have women as well who beat their husbands, and I know this is something that people don't talk about, but we have crazy women out there, and regardless of which side is committing the violence, we have you can find a father who is beating the wife, but totally loves the children 100%. He'll never touch his children. So I don't think you should separate the father from the children just because he was abusive to you, because he was abusive to you but not to the children. So I think with that, the dad should still be allowed to see the children. And like you say, if a child says I hate my dad, because of course the children see and they'll hate the father for doing that to their mom, you shouldn't encourage the dislike.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. And well, Isaac, thanks for that input. Loss of heritage identity is one big problem that diaspora children suffer when they transition to adulthood from teenager. That analogy hits home for me. So
thank
that's
you, Eileen.
That's Eileen. And someone also said we need what about when parents, how parents, the guardians, say negative words to their children encourage parents and guardians communities to speak more positive to their children. Of course,
Yes.
that impacts so much on the children when you call them negative names. And
yes.
so do you want to?
Yes, speak what you want to see. If you read the Bible in the book, let me see, where's my Bible? If you read the Bible in the book of Genesis, chapter number 1, the Bible says, and God says. When you go to chapter number 3, and God says. When you go to number 9, and God said. See, God is speaking. And at the end of that chapter, he says, and God saw. What God kept on saying is what he saw. So what you keep on calling your children is what you will see. You call them stupid, 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 you will see stupidity. But call forth the greatness that is in them, and you will see. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs, chapter number 6, you have been ensnared by the words of your own mouth. So do this, my child, deliver yourself.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for that. Well, I just want you now to just talk to us as parents, but just talk to the men first. I want you to just take your time and just talk to the men first.
Okay.
And then talk to the boys, because there's totally two different things.
Right. To the men.
To the men, to the parents, and then to the boys.
Yes. Okay. Let me start with the men, as you said. Thank you. And Lydia, thank you for this platform. Let me say this on air. You know, before we connected, many months ago, a friend of mine from the UK said, you need to connect with this lady called Lydia. She does the things you do, you know. And then, okay, it ended like that. Then we connected. So I know this is of divine orchestration. And I do really thank you for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. So to the men, I know it's not been easy. I know sometimes we don't know who we're going to talk to. We are working with death certificates in our pockets. We are leading while bleeding. We are walking while fainting. We are shedding tears on the inside. And I know it's been tough, but I want you to know it's okay not to be okay. It is okay to be vulnerable with a fellow man and people you can trust and tell them, listen, I feel like this thing is making me want to go into a depression. And men, I know we have sacrificed. Men, I know sometimes when we make 1,000 good steps, we are remembered for the one wrong step that we made. I know it's not been easy, but I also know if we stand as one, leaving no man behind, our wives will be secure, our children will be safe. Let's take back our position of authority. Let us go and sit and say, you know what? Yes, we are wounded. We are leading while bleeding. Our ankles have been broken. Our knees have been crushed, but we keep on moving. If we have to crawl on our stomachs, let's crawl. And let's crawl to the seat of authority. And on behalf of every man, we want to say to the society, where we have let you down, we are sorry. Where we should have done better, we want to make amends. Men, it is time to rise up, leave no man behind, and let us walk together to the promised land. And to the parents, understand you have been given the responsibility of raising these children by Jehovah God himself. They are not ours to boast. They are ours to raise, train them up so that when they grow, they will not depart from it. As parents, we have the greatest responsibility. These children of ours are not leaders of tomorrow. Leadership is now, because what the children do today, based on the advice and the counsel we give them, will wait for them in 5 years. So that parents, at some point, we will be looking back and handing over the baton to our children. May we hand over the baton to children who are willing to take from where we will live, and they finish their race for their generation, and they turn back and give to our children's children. Remember, as parents, we have to deal with the battles that we have to finish, because what you do not finish, our children will have to complete that battle. Let's not be unfair to them by dealing with our own battles, killing some things in these battles, so that when we are done, when we give them the baton, they will be running their race. And to the boys, I want you to know that you are great people. I know maybe sometimes it's been hard. I know sometimes you wondered, are we going to make it? I want to tell every young man and every young lady, do not buy the lie that you have the luxury of time, because time flies. do that which you have to do today. Some things your parents tell you, it's not because we hate you. We may say some things that you do not like, but at the end of the day, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But even in us being right and us being wrong, it's on the foundation of love and the desperation to see you succeed. And I pray for everybody in general that we will make today count. And I will finish by saying what I usually say. Today, you and I and everybody listening and watching us tonight, we are one day closer to our death. There is a coffin that was opened the day there was an opening for us to be born, and waiting for us on that last day when our lives will flash right in front of our eyes, and we will look back. And what will we remember you for? My favorite statement: no one knows the kind of car Nelson Mandela drove. Nobody knows the kind of suit Martin Luther King wore. Nobody knows the kind of food Barack Obama loves. But when you say the long walk to freedom, you will know who you're talking about. When you say, I have been to the mountaintop and I have seen the promised land, you know who you're talking about. When you say, yes, we can, you will know who you're talking about. And I want to ask you, when life flashes through in front of your eyes and you breathe your last, what will you be remembered for? God bless you.
Wow. Okay. That really, I didn't expect that. So thank you so much. And I'll say thank you very much for everybody who is watching today. Thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook. Thank you so much. And somebody just said, I'll just read this last one. Someone actually said, my son is watching and listening. It was meant to be. So thank you so much for the word to
say hi to your son. Son is June. June is son. We say hello to you. You will succeed. You will be a great man. And I want to see you in 5 years doing great and mighty things and making your mother proud.
Amen. Amen. I'll say amen on our behalf. That's great. Someone say, children brought up in the first world hardly fit in the third world. One of our musicians brought her children from France to spend the holidays here. The next day, one of their Kode sons demanded that he sent back to his father. Okay. All right. I just want to say, somebody said, great topic. Thank you very much, John Kaniaro. I just want to take this opportunity and say thank you so much again to everybody who is watching. And Robert, I met you at my cousin's wedding. Okay. The lady who you actually say, okay. Yes.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Junie. I hope I was a good MC. Well, I hope I did a good job.
And Anne Joki as well said, my 13-year-old was actually listening as well. Thank you. Powerful. Thank you, so do you want to say something to this 13-year-old?
Your 13-year-old will succeed. I declare in the mighty name of Jesus that 13-year-old will be a great man in the land. I cover him with the matchless blood of Jesus Christ, that no harm shall come near your child. I command the angels assigned to him to do that which they're divinely orchestrated to do. Your 13-year-old will bring you joy, will not bring you tears of pain. In your old age, you'll be grateful that your child turned out okay. Amen and amen.
Okay, thank you very much. I know somebody's talking about the predators in the society, the rape that is going on right now, the teen pregnancies and gender-based violence with men. But that is something that Robert actually talks about a lot, Coach Robert Bulari. If you go on his page, he talks about everything he talks about is about men and violence and parenting. So guys, if you visit his page, because there's so much that we cannot actually tackle right now, we cannot tackle everything, we're running out of time. So probably, Robert, you will accept our invitation next time as well.
Absolutely, it will be an honor. And some of the things I post a lot on my YouTube. It is Robert Burale, the coach. I've seen there are very many fake ones that have come up, but please, my YouTube, and I'll be churning out a lot of content very soon. It's Robert Burale, the coach. Subscribe on that, and let's get blessed together.
Okay, so guys, it's good as well. Just go and listen to some things that he's talking about, because he has so much wisdom. And you know what I said when I first had my first child, and because of attending seminars and and talks and, talking to parents who have gone through it. And I can say I'm a good parent. And it's only because I used to go to seminars and listen to talks as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been this good parent. And when my child was born, just calling names, I used to say, ngombe wewe, something like that. Ngombe, or are you a cow? Are you stupid? But when I went to this seminar one day and they told us that we have to separate a behavior and the child themselves, I felt so bad because I was so guilty of doing that. And they said, if your child does something, it's not the child is not stupid, it's the behavior that is stupid. So you have to identify this. So don't ever call children names. And I learned from that. And that's why I keep on telling people, it's important to attend things like seminars, talks, events, when they're talking about parenting, when they're talking about children. It's important to always go, because as parents, there's no book. There's no book out there how to be a parent, but you can just learn from others. You can learn, like you said, like what you say, that what you went through, what you struggled with. Someone can actually identify with you, because if they're going through the same, they can say, I can't talk to Lydia because she hasn't been through this, but I can talk to Robert because he has been through this. So guys, always when you hear there are things like this out there, because I know a lot of people are doing things like this, please just take your time, go and listen, and it will help you. And also visit Robert a lot, the coach. He does a lot of talk about men, parenting, and boy child. I don't know how to talk about men and boy child. I can only talk about women and girl child. So thank you very much again. You two powerful people. I could have brought you a cup of coffee. Thank you very much, Angela. Don't worry, next time we'll find you. Yeah. So thank you. So many people have appreciated you, Robert.
Thank you. I've seen Marine Bugwa. God bless you.
So people have said a lot of come back soon. Some people say come back soon. So you come back soon again. We'll call you. And I know you'll never let us down. You'll come back. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody on Facebook. Keep on sharing even as we go. Share and help each other to comment as well, help each other answer questions as well on Facebook. So you can still talk to each other. Thank you very much. And thank you so much, Robert, for accepting this invitation.
And thank you to Isaac Alande as well. Yes.
Yeah, don't go yet. So do you want to say thank you to some people as well, just before?
Yeah, I've seen Isaac is saying he was scared when I became a victim of the pandemic. May God's endurance, love continue to be with him as he continues to serve God. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wangari Bull, God bless you. Marine Bugwa, God bless you, everybody. I mean, I couldn't thank everybody by name, but just God bless you that you've taken your time to listen to us. And we do hope that you've come out better than you came in, and be like a beggar telling the beggar where the bread is. And anytime this great lady is on, please, I've seen her kind of interviews, and I'm sure she's blessing many people. So please keep on watching and keep on being blessed, because the day you stop learning is the day you start dying.
Thank you. And just to talk about the COVID as well, right now we're in tier 4. We're not allowed to go out. We're not allowed to do anything in London. So we are stuck in our houses. But I just want to tell people that, guys, COVID is real. And I know Coach had it as well. And we thank God for your life. When I saw that, I was really shaking on that day. I saw you in the bed and I was like, oh my God, no, this is not happening. So we thank God that you got better. We really thank God for that. But this thing is real. And some people are unfortunate that they die, or they have a forever, what is it called? Critical illness because of COVID. So guys, please use your mask all the time. Use your mask all the time. Use your sanitizer. Sanitize your hands, please. And the most important thing, social distancing, guys. Social distancing, just like the government, we have to follow the government guidelines. And also wash your hands with water and soap. If you have water and soap, please use that to wash your hands. Simple. You don't need any expensive thing. Kipande, sabuni ya kipande, any sabuni itakosha mkono na maji. And guys, stay safe and take good care of yourself. And God bless you.
Allow me to thank this great lady. My cousin Cleopatra. God bless you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you all. Thank you. But Coach, just wait there. Let me just say thank you to everybody on Facebook. God bless you guys. Until next time, we meet again on Saturday, as usual. Okay, so.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.